Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Back to Brilliance podcast. We're your hosts, Henry and Joseph. Thanks for tuning in. We ask that wherever you listen, that you would subscribe, leave a comment or a review. It helps great people like you find our podcast. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into today's topic. We're talking about magnetic confidence, how to lead, sell, inspire without waiting to feel ready. In this episode, we're going to discuss how success in business isn't just about strategy. It's about who you are while executing it. Confidence is built from self-trust, communication that magnetizes people, and courage with courage in face of fear. So with that, guys, I want to go ahead and bring on our co-host, Joseph. Joseph, say what's up and let's take it away.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I wanted to talk about confidence and more so social confidence because honestly that's a big problem that I had. I was pretty insecure socially, or people say social anxiety, and I feel like sometimes people will just say I have social anxiety, but a lot of the times it's people haven't practiced social confidence. So, I just wanted to have an episode where we go into that deeper.
Yeah, definitely. And confidence, again, sometimes we're not born with it. We have to develop it. Just like when you see a baby, they're not confident in walking. So, when they start taking their first little steps, they're going to fall, So these type of things happen in our entrepreneur journey as well. That's the game of building confidence, So that comes about, from our first point we want to break down is reprogramming your self-image to match your vision. A lot of times our self-image is made of, the people that imparted into our lives. So maybe you don't come from a entrepreneur background, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you caught the vision. So now you have to make your self-image to match your vision, and in doing that, some of the steps that we're going to go through, and as we're talking about, like, your business will never outgrow the picture you hold of yourself, So like if you have an expectation that things are going to go this way, but you don't see yourself actually executing it or doing it, this is where that reprogramming of self-image needs to take place, so that way it can match your vision.
Exactly. That's exactly it. For me personally, I kind of am in alignment with the fact that I was never, like, my family is not entrepreneurs. Like, they're all working class, they're all blue collar workers. So I mean, I will say my stepfather is an entrepreneur, and that's really what has given me, I guess, a subconscious effect or impression. But my lineage has no entrepreneurs. But I've really been trying to step into and embrace my entrepreneurial spirit, or my image of it, right? So a lot of the times, and even still to this day, I would see myself as unworthy or not ready to start. And that really helped me from starting, doing whatever I wanted to do, as far as reaching out to people, starting a business and all of that, because I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I never saw myself as someone who people would want to buy from. But now I'm really trying to shift that image into, X, Y, and Z. I won't try to tell you how to think about it per se, but, really step into, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm here to serve people.
Yeah, and that's a blueprint, that you have to find that blueprint, that helps you to dictate the decisions that you're going to make, So like that's part of the reprogramming again. Like, a lot of us, we don't come from that entrepreneurial spirit, or have that demonstration, from those around us, because a lot of, our uncles and things like that and family members, are blue collar workers, which is okay, but if you want to be an entrepreneur and venture out and do things on your terms, then you have to reprogram that self-image, because it's not just about the image, it's about who you actually become and who you are. So, entrepreneurs must actively rewrite that self image to align with their bigger vision. So the thing is like a lot of times, when we don't know, all we have to do is look to the models. So there's books out there, plethora of books. The internet is filled now with so much information. This is the information age, where everything that you want to learn or ever wanted to know is available at your fingertips. Just, stop scrolling, doom scrolling, and doing all those things, and start putting in, that time and those reps and energy to build up your self image.
Exactly. And building that self image is also building trust. That way you can keep your promises to yourself, or you build trust by keeping promises to yourself, right? So that's one thing that I've really been serious about this year is keeping promises that I tell myself. I'm not perfect about it. There's like two or three things on the top of my head that I have yet to really fulfill on. But whenever I say I'm going to do something, I do end up doing it. And so that's a big thing, because if you can't trust your own word, other people won't trust your word. So, confidence isn't just built from, oh, I'm this, I'm that. It's actually built from evidence. It's built from your actions. It's built from who you become and what you do.
And that's the thing, like you wouldn't take advice from somebody that's never done it, right? So it's like, that confidence comes, from seeing it happen. So keeping those promises that you make to yourself, that's gonna build that evidence and strengthen your confidence. Every time you follow through on commitments, even the smallest of commitments, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted. And like Joseph just said, it's not. People are only going to trust you when they see you being committed. And that's like those that go to college, they get the job because not because they're probably the most qualified, because they're fresh out of school, but it just shows that the commitment that they made to a 4-year college to stick it out and get their degree. So that shows commitment, and employers like that. So again, when you're dealing with other people out in the entrepreneur world, it's important that you're committed and that your word can be trusted. Because in the beginning, that's all you have. And when you commit and you make that promise to somebody and then you break it because, oh, my buddy wants to go out, golfing or fishing or camping or whatever it is this weekend, and you're like, I'd rather do that than this. Guess what? Your word just went down. So like your self-image needs to match your vision. So your vision is to succeed and to help others. Then you have to sacrifice and do what it takes.
Exactly. And just to emphasize the smaller ones, keep promises that you make to others, as far as like, hey, I'll call you back, or hey, I'll call you at 5, or yeah, I'll take out the trash today, right? I always give that example because it's a common one that people, myself included, sometimes slack on, right? And so just even small ones, right? Or hey, I'll do this thing for you if your buddy's gonna move and you're like, hey, I'll help you move, right? Go through with it, because not only will you build up the trust with others, but you'll build up the trust with yourself, because you're like, hey, even though I didn't really want to help him move, I told him that I would help my buddy move, right? And so that really helps you create momentum in your business, because, and I've seen this myself, because the more that I do things for myself and the more I achieve at whatever I have established I was going to do earlier that week, I feel a lot better about myself. And so, pretty much what I've been doing recently is engaging with X. I've kind of mentioned it every episode for the past like 2 months now. And so now I have like a guilty conscience if I don't fulfill my daily quota for X, for lack of a better term. But for example, last night I was not I wasn't in the mood to do my X engagements, but like I had like a guilty conscience of it. And that's because of the momentum that I have. I'm like, well, I don't want to give up, this daily streak that I've had for 2 months of posting every day. And so again, that will really help you create momentum in your business. whenever you fulfill everything that you want to do and that you tell yourself you're going to do.
Yeah, no, it's very, very important to stay with it, especially when you start building that momentum. It's like exercise. You could be doing really good. You're not probably seeing like huge results, but every day, like you're waking up and like, oh, my arms are sore, my legs are sore, or whatever, you worked out the day before. But that's building up that momentum. And if you don't work on it, 2 days, a day goes by, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, you know, week goes by and then you start feeling like, oh man, I should have just stuck with it. And then it's hard to get restarted again. So when you start feeling that momentum, even if it's very minimal that you just went on there and put, like in this case, if he's posting on X, it's like, hey, everybody, hope everybody's having a great day. The end. But it's always about just being consistent, guys. And that's consistent commitment, even in the smallest things, is going to build your confidence. And it's, which brings us to our next point, is detaching, identity from external validation, meaning like, when people, give you those attaboys and stuff like that. If that's the only reason why you're going to do something because somebody's going to pat you on the back, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. You're looking for, everybody's opinion. You're looking for the praise. You're looking for everybody to boost you up. I have news for you, friends. The journey of entrepreneurship is a lonely road, but it's a worthy one. And the thing is that you have to keep pushing in spite of how you feel. It's not about failing, guy. It's about making those promises to yourself, staying committed to it, and seeing it through. And, that's why I always say quitters never win and winners never quit. So you got the choice to make which one you want to be.
That's a really great point. And like you were just saying, if you're waiting for praise, if you're waiting for other people's opinions, you're giving other people power for your bit or to your business, right? So it even goes both ways, or it even goes further to if you get a lot of rejections, or if you're doing sales and you get a lot of rejections while you're doing sales, well, now you're you'll carry that weight of, oh, I got so many no's. I was selling earlier and I got a lot of no's when I was cold calling, or I've been getting a lot of unopened emails for my email marketing. If you let that get you down, that will also be a form of attaching the external reality to your identity, because you're like, oh, well, no one wants to buy from me. I've been doing a lot of selling and no one has bought from me. If you let all of those things influence you, you're outsourcing your confidence, right? So you're also, if you attach it to your identity, you'll also attach that to your self-worth. So I'm guilty of this too, where I won't get a sale and it will make me feel down, or I'll feel down about it. But I try not to attach it to my self-worth, right? I try not to be like, oh, well, I didn't get that sale, so I'm worth nothing, or my business is terrible, right? I don't allow myself to go down that rabbit hole. But I know a lot of people can very easily go down that rabbit hole of, well, I didn't get that sale, or I've been selling for a month now and no one has bought from me, right? So it just feeds back into your identity.
Very true, and that's the thing. If you're in that position where you're trying to sell, and nobody's buying, the thing that I learned is two things. Number one is providing value before the sale. So always what's in their best interest, and in exchange, you're going to get, the monetary, in return, right? But the whole thing is your service, your product, whatever it is you're doing should always bring value to somebody else, and they're happy to pay it. And when things don't go your way, use gratitude. Okay? Gratitude is the key to success, because not everything is going to be peaches and cream. This is reality. I'm just spitting truth here. I've been down this road. I'm in this car with you right now. I'll give you personal story. I just did a job for a client. This guy's got buku cash. He just bought a $200 million project. I went out there and did some work. He's paid me before. Everything's been fine. No problem. Did some work a couple weeks ago. Sent them the invoice. Hey, buddy, how's it going? This is a long time standing relationship since 2009. And I'm like, hey, where's my check? you know? Oh, bro, you should be getting it. It's 3 weeks now. And he's still telling me you should be getting it. So these type of things, they build emotions in you, right? We're human. And I'm sharing this, with you guys because this is important. Hopefully it helps you. But I don't have my business open for that one guy. It just, you start to learn from these things and you don't let the emotions control you. It's just like, that the money's going to come. It's just when, right? So we got to keep looking. So you don't outsource your confidence that in other people, you don't stop negotiating your worth, because your worth is more than that one client or that one sale or that one person. You got to remember that you're building something, guys. Okay. And what you're building is this vision, and whatever it is, wherever you want to go, you have to learn from these little things, these little mistakes. So we make mistakes, people make mistakes, people do things, you do things. And this is why it's a danger to, look for that external validation, because sometimes people are going to praise you and sometimes people are going to, rob you. That's the reality. So my point that I'm trying to say to you is that, like, in the portion of reprogramming your self-image to the vision that you have, is always keeping your promise. So the promise that you're making is that I'm always going to deliver value. I'm always going to stay committed to things, even when crap hits the fan, even the smallest of things. Okay. But people need to know that you can still be trusted. You didn't change. Those people change. So you just keep doing what you're doing. And just remember that, communication is a growth multiplier, and that's the key, always just communicating, with your people, with yourself, write it down, get it out there, have your mentor, have the people around you, that want to see you excel, that want to see you prosper. This podcast, that's what we're all about. Back to brilliance. The thing is to get back to a place, maybe you drifted, maybe you haven't been there, so those that are ahead, those that are behind, we're all helping each other, and communication is the key.
Well said. I was letting you cook, as the young people say, my generation. But yeah, no, that was beautifully put. Yeah, if you build your business around one person and then they start to ghost you or whatever the case may be, you may be like, oh, my business is not great anymore, or my business is falling apart. So it's really about owning the spotlight, right? So just showing up authentically, showing up as yourself, being like, hey, I'm here to serve, I'm here to help, who wants it, right? And that's really what I've been trying to do with myself, is be like, okay, whether people want it or not, there are people that want it, and all I have to do is get it in front of the right people, and boom. Then I just I offer value for with my service, and then they give me money as a transaction, right? So that's really what it is. And so if you fear judgment, you're not going to be able to reach as many people as you would want to, because you may think that people are watching you closely, or, oh, well, what if I stutter during this sales call? What if I do this? What if I do that? It's all an illusion. It's all a thoughts. It's all about your mental image, right? So if you're like, oh, well, even if I do stutter, my product is still good. I'm still a genuine person. I'm still offering a great product. You can just go back to, I'm a good person. I have a good service. It doesn't really matter how I present it.
And that's the thing, guys. Too many times I think we just get caught up in trying to be perfect. And a lot of times that might kill the sale, because you're trying to sound too polished. People buy from people, guys. They don't buy. the BS. They buy from people that are real, you know? So communication, however you communicate, you know, at whatever level it is, you know, entrepreneurs often fear judgment, you know, like, you know, they think that people are going to, you know, not buy because of this or that. It's no, what they're not buying is your lack of confidence. That's what they're not buying, because you're not confident in what you're saying. You're not confident because we break promises that we make to ourselves. People can feel that, you know, it's an energy. They can sense it immediately. If you're selling out of desperation, people can tell. All you're doing is just selling it, you know. That's how those infomercials work, right? But if you act now, we'll throw in another one for free. All you're gonna do is pay shipping and handling, you know, and that's the sleazy way of doing things. If you act now, you know, so just always be authentic, guys. You know, show up being authentic, you know, and that'll help you, you know, to free up any of those things of fear of judgment, you know, and that confidence will show up, you know, and you'll be fully present, you know, so to speak. So try those things, guys, you know, and see how they help.
Yeah, especially, you know, just eye contact and listening skills. We had an episode about that at one point, you know, effective communication, but it really goes the full way, right? If you're looking your customer in the eyes, or maybe if you're on a phone call, you know, active listen, right? Actively listen, give them a straw man of what they just said. That way, you know, or that way that you show that you know what they're talking about, right? So if a client tells you 3 pain points, you tell them those pain points back at them in your own words. That way they're like, okay, he is listening to me. He's not just trying to close a deal, right? So it all comes down to effective communication and also belief in your vision. Because if you believe in the product that you're selling, if you believe in your vision, it won't matter if they say yes or no. You're already saying yes to yourself, which then gives you, you know, an attractive presence, or, you know, a magnetic presence, and people will want to follow you, right? That's kind of why I wanted to collaborate with Henry, because I could tell that he's a very authentic person, and also he's in the same boat as me. He's in the same car, as he said, right? And so I wanted to pick up whatever cookie trails he has left, right? Or anything that he has to offer, really. That's because, again, he comes from a place of, you know, I'm going to give you what you want, and if you don't want it, that's okay. I'll go to the next person.
My goal and purpose at this point in life, I'm 50, guys. This year I turned 50. And my goal and vision is, because I've done a lot of things, and I'm not done, man. I'm still doing a lot of things. But along the way, if I can save you 5, 10, 15, 20 years of mistakes because of the mistakes that I made, then I did you a solid, you know? So the reality is that I do these things because I want to help the people behind me, you know? There's too much fear out here that people have, you know, out in the real world, you know, the other entrepreneurs that, oh, they don't want to teach you because if they teach you, then you're going to replace them. And that's why there's so many gurus out there that sell a bunch of stuff that sometimes may or may not be all that great. But the reality is, in what you're doing is what's important. So selling the vision that you're of your entrepreneur journey with certainty and clarity. You know, this is the strongest things that leaders have, right? Is to speak with certainty and with clarity, because you listen, you know, like Joseph said, you know, we don't want to sell people things that we want them to have. We could sell them the things that they need and they're happy to pay, you know? So that's the realities that I learned in life, you know? And, you know, the reality is don't wait to feel ready, you know, before you speak with conviction, you know, with that clarity and that boldness.
Yeah, sell it as if it's inevitable, right? Or just believe that it is inevitable, right? I told my buddy this once, but I was like, "There's no way that I can fail, right?" And even failure is an illusion or a story, as some may say. But again, like I go into every day being like, I can't fail, right? I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. And so whenever you do that, it really allows you to step away from the fear, because it's like, okay, even if I trip and fall a couple times, I'm still going to get to the end, right? And so whenever you're certain about things, that will reduce hesitation in others, because if you're certain about what you're doing and what you're offering, people will be like, okay, well, he knows what he's talking about. I could tell that he knows what he's talking about. Let me look into it, or let me let me buy what he's selling, right? In a metaphorical and literal sense. And so that will just really help you build momentum with whoever you're trying to approach.
And that's what's going to build that magnetic confidence, to help you to lead, sell, and inspire, and again, just going over those points, reprogramming your self-image so that it matches your vision, build that trust and keep your promises to yourself and to others. Detach your identity from external validation. Don't look for that attaboy or, hey, no, you know what? Every time you deliver the product solid or the service solid, they're going to recommend you to others. That's the point that you're doing everything fantastic, and keep doing it. Rinse and repeat. Remember, communication, guys, that's the key. Just showing up authentically, and treat everybody the same. Treat everybody the same. Just because one might be a billionaire and you're selling to a thousandaire, treat them all the same, guys. And that's going to build a magnetic presence where people always going to come to you, because it's not what you sell them, it's how you made them feel. That's what people are buying, how you made them feel. If you made them feel silly and dumb and they don't know what they're talking about and they don't know what they're doing, you're going to lose the deal. If they feel listened, valued, appreciated, and understood, here, take my money. Okay? And then selling the vision with certainty and clarity, that's the key, guys. So those are my thoughts. I want to bring Joseph and ask him if he has any final thoughts before closing it out.
Yeah, I just really want to emphasize what Henry just said, where it's like, no matter who you're talking to, who you're selling to, approach them the same way. And it should be with confidence and with trust and respect, because those three things will transfer a lot more than like some marketing ploy that you heard from Alex or Mosey or whoever the case may be, right? So just be authentic. And I want to give a shout out to our community, who's full of entrepreneurs who are tired of doing it alone. We have a community that combines self-growth tools, community support, as well as weekly structure to help you stay focused and follow through with whatever you're trying to do. So that's at backtobrilliance.com. If you scroll down to our community tab, you'll be linked up with like-minded people like you.
Well said. All right, guys. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Don't forget, wherever you listen, subscribe, leave a comment, and review. Helps great people like you find our podcast. And with that, we're out. Stay blessed until the next time.
Bye-bye.